Hello, everybody, and welcome to Therapeutic Tea Tuesday with Life Coach Miss Starr. And yeah, you know how I get down. I am super excited. Get your teas, get your journal. We about to have a therapeutic conversation, and I have a special guest again, who is my best friend, virtuous woman of God, wife, mother, homeowner, beautiful sister, and great friend, and a sister in Christ. My Shug, would you introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. This is Katrina Goins.
Yes, and this is my sister, and welcome back to the show, Shug.
Thank you.
How are you today?
I'm well. I can't complain. It's always a beautiful day when I get to spend my time with my sister, my best friend.
And yeah, we about to have some fun. I was talking to my sister the other day, and I said, sis, would you mind coming back on? I need you to come on. We want to do a special episode for y'all today. And ladies and gent, the name of this episode is called Single Bingo and Married Carried. So we gonna get ready and jump right into it. So Shug, how long have you been married?
So it'll be 6 years in another week, actually.
Wow. Has that gone by fast for you?
To a certain degree. I think that it goes by faster than you think sometimes, but I think that also it's just like, oh, are we at year 6? Or, at year whatever you are, when you're married. But yeah, I love how, I just have to say really quickly, I love how my sister threw this together, because we are going to explain why the title is Married Carry, and then she's also going to explain why she's labeling it as Single Bingo, and that's bingo, bingo.
Yes, Katrina, tell us, because we talked, if y'all want to check it out too, we had an interview on sisterly love, and we talked about our bond, but we're going to break down more about my sister's marriage. So Trina, first and foremost, how did you meet? I mean, I was part of it, y'all, too. But how did you meet your husband?
I met my husband in church. It was such a blessing because, both of us obviously were single, and it was just nice to actually get to know somebody from church. So we met each other in church, and like a lot of people say, the rest was history. But honestly, I was really glad to see him in that element, and it was truly a blessing. And from there, it didn't take us long to get married. So after meeting.
Awesome. Trina, let them know, because I know the story. Let them know what was your first date like, and to compare to over those few months to your engagement. Let them know all the good tea.
So, and I like to, when I talk about myself, I just like to encourage other people, but I also I'm a realist, so I also like to be, completely honest and, quite frank with a lot of individuals when I speak. So I am a Christian, and my husband is as well. Obviously, we met each other in church.
What church did you meet him at?
Church on the Rock, which is in New Haven. It's on Hamilton Street. But we met in April 2016, and we got married in August 2016. So a lot of people would say that's quick. And some people even say, oh, was it love at first sight? I wouldn't even go as far as saying that. More so it was Christ telling us that we were meant for each other, and that's really our story. It was a little bit quicker than norm, but this is for ladies and gentlemen, when
Yes.
you know that person is right for you, and you feel like the Lord is just like tugging on your heart to go and move forward, like you cannot block that, and you got to just answer to the Lord's request of you to move forward with that individual. And I feel like for men, when you want to marry a woman, so don't let your friends or other people try to block that, because sometimes that really is Satan. And it doesn't take, a year and 3 years to like say, oh yeah, for sure, I want to marry them now that we've been intimate and we did this and that. No, you don't need to do all that. No, you don't. You don't need that time either. When you're supposed to marry somebody, and that was our story. That was our case. And we didn't have sex before marriage. We even talked about some real stuff. We talked about our finances. I asked my husband what his credit score was.
Yes.
Just some real stuff right there. And I would tell anybody to have those type of conversations before you get married. We even talked about, like, where do we want to live when we get married. And thankfully I really found a really good apartment for us to move into. So just a lot of things that were happening within that short amount of months that we knew each other, and everything worked out because it was really and truly God ordained.
Yes. Katrina, let the audience know a background, a little bit about yourself. How are you preparing to be a wife, and what made you say, hey, I'm a Christian now, I'm going to wait until I get married? What were some of the events that led you towards this God-ordained marriage?
So, my sister was saying, I look forward to when she talks about some things with her, and I'm going to ask her a few questions as well. But, speaking of to that, I wasn't always like celibate. I had some sinful days, if you will, where I just was doing my own thing and, just in the world, right? I'm just like, whatever. Always was monogamous, but like, I just still was just, wasn't married from before and was, fornicating and just different things like that. But there was a place in my life where it just was like, no, you need to stop. You're losing your soul. Those soul ties are starting to bring you down.
Right.
You're losing yourself in the process. So God really helped me to say, enough is enough. You really need to be celibate and stick with it. And I was like, you know what? I don't even really want to be with any guys. I didn't want to be with no girls either. Let me get that straight.
I know that's right.
I just wanted to just like get myself together, go back to school, because I had my associate's degree, but I decided to go back to school to get my bachelor's degree. And I was like, let me just work on me. But in the process of that, when I was like, I'm done with everything, I'm just focusing on God, I'm focusing on my career, I'm focusing on, my education and all these different things. That's when my husband came in the mix, because actually my sister and I were planning on going to Virginia. That's where I was going to school at, which is Regent University. It's in Virginia Beach, Virginia. So it's just like, yeah, like so many things. But God is so faithful, and he revealed my husband to me in that time where I was just feeling all these feelings like, yeah, bump everything. I'm so done. I'm truly celibate. I'm going to wait until marriage. I'm going to get this bachelor's degree. I am going to focus on God. That's where I was before I met him. So, just like a little, I was young and dumb from in my 20s, but like as you grow and as God reveals things to you and you listen to him, right, that's when things can really start happening. So I'm also gonna just bring it to my sister, because actually she's gonna talk about this single bingo type thing. So Shug, and this, I'm sorry guys, for you guys that don't know, I call my sister Shug. That is,
yes,
that is life coach Miss Starr that I'm talking to. But so Shug, why did you say single bingo, and how does that tie into you?
All right, guys. So just to give you a little bit background on myself, as my sister and I interact, I haven't talked about me as much during the other interviews. So everybody, I am 35 years old. I turned 35 in April of this year. The 30s have been really amazing. I had my Jesus year and a lot of great things too, and a lot of revelation in my 30s.
And let me just tie in with that really quickly. Me and my sister do not like to consider our 30s to be dirty 30. We consider it to be thriving 30s.
Yes, thriving 30s, yeah. So let's get away from that. We're gonna go with thriving 30s. Tell them that you heard it from Amber and Katrina first, because we just thriving, and I feel like even the next 5 years is gonna be absolutely amazing. But yes, yeah, I am single, and the reason why I named this episode Single Bingo, because I think it's very important to enjoy this time. Now, when you're of the world, everyone says rush, be in a relationship, but relationships, they're gonna have some challenges, and being single for a season, whatever you are, it is very nice and it gives you a lot of freedom. Single bingo, when you think of bingo, ladies and gentlemen, you think of the game, right? And you're trying to win, whether you crisscross or whether you go straight ahead. But guess what? When you are single, you are the winner. And let me tell y'all, it is a blessing. And you need to look at yourself as a prize. It doesn't matter if you're 18. It doesn't matter if you're 80 years old. Wherever God takes you, it's a blessing. And it might be longer or it could be a season. And if you guys didn't know, even in the Bible, Paul clearly states to be single is easier. So just keep that in mind. And I'm talking about marriages, that there's gonna be some challenges. However, with God, with a stable relationship, with an intimate relationship in God, you can thrive and make it through. But just keep that in mind. So that's why I named it Single Bingo. When you think of yourself, bingo, you want to win, you are the prize. Singleness is the prize. Take your time and your concerns to God. It's a beautiful thing. And I want you guys to just realize that. And I thought this would be great because my sister could talk to the married individuals and then I could talk to the singles, and we can talk about some of the great things in being married and also being single. So thank you, Shug, for that question. That is why I named it Single Bingo for that part.
And I hope you, and as my sister would say, I hope you had your notepads out for that, because what she just said was something that was really powerful. You really do have to look at yourself as the prize. So
yes.
When the next time when you're just like, you know how like sometimes in your singleness, because I know I felt like this at times when I was single too, where you just kind of feel lonely. Those are like almost one of the worst times in being single. Everything else about being single to me is great. Anyway, that's actually just like, to me anyway, it was like the worst thing is just those feelings of loneliness. But just remind yourself, for those that are single, just remind yourself that you are the prize.
Yes.
When your husband, ladies, when your husband, future husband finds you, or fellas, when your future wife, when the two of you meet, just think of yourself as a prize, not in conceit,
right?
Not in a way of where you're just, being something that's ungodly, but just in a way of just making sure your esteem is good. Because let me tell you something, self-esteem, having like a good self-esteem is actually really attractive.
Yes.
Because when you're down like that, and I'm not necessarily saying like depressed, but I'm talking about just down, it's actually really unattractive to the other people that might be interested in you. But if they see you like slouch over, I'm not feeling good, here's my Starbucks cup, I just wanted my coffee, no, just try to feel good about yourself. I am the prize. One day somebody is going to get this prize, and they are going to be fortunate and blessed to have it.
Yes, yes, Sugar. She hit it right. It's important. And y'all, I want y'all to remember this, because I was reading a Bible plan, and this really stuck to me. The Bible plan said God is crazy about you. So when you feel like no one cares, or your family is not where they need to be, or you can't depend on them, just remember God cares about you. He knows how many hairs you have on your head. And for you ladies, keep in mind that me being a life coach, one of my specialties is self-love. And in self-love, there's a lot of things that come up in self-love, but part of self-love is self-esteem issues. It's self-care, how you care for yourself, your goals for their future. So I am always available to assist in that area, so that way you can love yourself. And I always gonna say this, you have to love yourself to love others, and then you're gonna show up to be the best version of yourself. And yeah, before my sister, as she continues her journey of marriage and my journey of singleness, my sister and I grew up together. And yeah, my sister could tell you, we had a thing going on, all right? So we lived in New Haven, Connecticut for a little bit. on our own. So my sister and I moved out. My sister was 21 and I was 24, and we moved to New Haven, and then we went to Hamden, and yeah, we had a whole thing going on. My sister paid half the rent, I paid half the rent, we did half the cooking, we did half the chores, everything was just split. But my sister and I too, we would work hard, we had jobs, we were going to school, but that was how we was living. We were just two sisters, and we got along so well. And then my sister and I would hang out together too, so we spent that sister's time. So those were some of the single days. And then my sister is younger, but she would definitely ask me, like, how do you feel about this guy? And not only as the older sister did I inspire my sister, but my sister inspired me, right? Because I feel like even from someone younger, you can always learn something. My sister is really great with finances. Someone great to talk to, or my sister may say, hey, Amber's good with the life coach, and talk to her about this. We have strengths. And I know it's going to make my sister laugh, but I always laugh at this because I was like, my brother-in-law, he was like, she ain't going to no Virginia. I gotta put a ring on it. My sister and I had a whole plan to go down there, and then fate kicked in, and it was a blessing. And now to see my sister 6 years later and here is just a blessing. Katrina, let the audience know some of when someone says marriage, a God-filled marriage, what comes to your mind?
A God-filled marriage, to me, it's a lot of things. But to be honest, one of the key things is really keeping God in the center of your marriage and acting as though God is in the center of your marriage. Now, Some people say it, but actions speak louder than words. And we, as a married couple, we really try our best to not please one another necessarily, but to look more and more like Jesus. Because in the midst of trying to look more and more like Jesus, actually we are pleasing one another. Now, is my marriage perfect? No, nobody has a perfect marriage. But as long as we strive to look more like, our Savior, then we actually do better as husband and wife, and overall just how we treat one another, how we go about different things, the structure of our marriage, our house being built on a rock, all those different things. And it's tough because as y'all know, the enemy is busy. Let me tell you something. No matter if you're single, you're married, whatever your situation is, if it's complicated. I remember I had it on my Facebook and somebody was like, Katrina, take that off. It's like, that's nobody's business. But this is before I got married, but it was just like, I had to put my status as it's just complicated. But anyway, no matter your status, just remember that you have a Savior that's bigger than the enemy. He may be attacking you. You may be going through things, and trust me, I get it. Everybody's situation is different, and there's different tolerances that we have too. But remember, God does tell us that He never will put more on us than we can bear.
Yes,
and we have to remember that no matter, as I said, your status, no matter if you're married, no matter if you're single, no matter if it's complicated or whatever it is, just remember that you are going to be able to get through it.
Yes.
But we just have to remember who we are and who Christ is and how He is over our situation. So there's that.
Wonderful. That is a God-filled marriage, and that is so important. And even now, just listening to my sister, I'm always listening, because if that happens to me in the future, those are some tips, those are some knowledge, those are some wisdom that my sister is giving me to guide me and drive me in my future if that's what I decide to do. So thank you so much for that, Shug.
Thank you. And let me just ask, how does God help you in your singleness, and what does He do for you in order to help you to get through some tough moments that you may encounter by yourself?
Wonderful. Great question. So the younger Amber looked a lot different than this older, much better improved Amber. So just like my sister, when I was younger, I was really in the world. Just like she said, made a lot of mistakes. I'm not perfect neither. Past fornicating, eating too much, thinking, shaking, twerking, all of that. As they would say now, because that wasn't a word when we was back then. And again, I'm not perfect, but that that old Amber, when I got baptized and got saved, it was nailed to the cross. And now this Amber is just better and more wiser. So when I was single before, sometimes it would be, rough, or I have feelings of being lonely. But this new version of Amber, I was telling my sister the other day, one of the most things I really enjoy about my singleness right now is being able to just answer to God. Yeah, I live by myself and I get to spend so much time with God. I have this beautiful business and then I also work full time. And I'm telling you, I was telling my sister, me working remotely, I got a chance to just go and take a break and go pray. And I just pray a lot more. So I could honestly say that I do not feel lonely. But that other Amber, before I was saved and so close to God, I would feel lonely. But this Amber, I don't feel lonely at all. Yeah, I moved out of state and my family was 2 hours away from me and I thrived. And the reason why I thrived is all because of Jesus Christ and the relationship that I have with him. So me being this Christian Amber now, I pray. Other things that help me too, yeah. Oh, this is one of my favorite things, yeah, is solo dates. Yes. Take yourself out. Buy yourself flowers. Yeah. You go to ShopRite, there are some $5 flowers.
Trader Joe's is even less than all these too.
Yes. Go buy yourself your own flowers and make your house beautiful. Now, yeah, I'm so comfortable with solo dating. I done stepped it up a notch and I go out of state. But if you're just starting out as a life coach, let me recommend that you just start going to the movies by yourself. You go out to dinner by yourself. Guys, even go to the beach by yourself. Yeah, I absolutely love the beach. I like to read, but take yourself out on dates, yeah. And this is
and don't feel ashamed too. I just want to add to that because and you're probably saying like, well, that's good for her, but I really can't do that. Yes, you can. A lot of that, let me just break that in. That's actually pride. And you don't want to be prideful. Like, I just can't do that. I can't have people see me out by myself. No, who cares about who sees you? They see you, they don't. It feels good when you actually can go out on a date. If somebody can't take you, just go ahead and do it yourself. I actually did that before too. Before I got married, and my sister knew about that. So it's just like, it's okay. And it actually makes her feel good. It actually made me feel good too when I did it before as well.
Right. And I think it looks a lot different now, right? You look at yourself like, I could take myself out if you're driving yourself, or either if you're getting a ride or an Uber, but it's a chance for you to spend time with yourself. Yeah, let me tell you something. You have to spend time with yourself and love yourself, because if you don't like yourself, how is someone else gonna love you? But if you love yourself and you're confident within yourself, it is awesome. And yeah, and I can just tell you, I had a solo date which was really awesome. I brought myself to a women's empowerment event, and then after the event, I decided to go out and I had food, and yeah, I'm telling you, the times that I have took myself out, I've met some really great people. And they're like, hey, Amber, you here by yourself? And I'm like, yeah. And we start a conversation. And y'all gonna laugh at this, but I'm telling the truth. Guess what? You gotta wait for nobody. you know, that girl, well, this is for the girls, guys. That girl be like, I still gotta do my makeup. I still gotta get ready. No, when you take yourself out, guess what? You getting yourself ready. You could go when you want to go. You could return when you want to go. So I definitely recommend solo dates. And as you get more used to it, if you want to go out the country, always check information. Always do your research, ladies and gentlemen. But it is so therapeutic. So that is one of the things that really helps me in my singleness. Another thing too is I have really great friendships. And that's including my family, my beautiful sister, cousins, and friends. But it's very important, y'all, that you have people that you can connect with. Let me really break it down. Positive people you want some people that's gonna bring life into you, so that way you could bring life into them. And since I am a Christian, I'm gonna really break it down and say other Christians, those with morals and values, because we help one another. So that is something else that helps me with my singleness. Another thing too, yeah, I am very busy. So between working on my business, I like to read, I like to write poetry, I love to learn, and yeah, I love me some YouTube University.
And volunteering.
Yes. Oh, volunteering is so rewarding. I've done a few things delivering meals to seniors. And I've also assisted at the food share in Connecticut. Been really, really, really awesome and positive. So volunteering, taking yourself on solo dates, spending time with positive family and friends, and also getting in the Bible, reading the Word. That is all learning. Guys, if you can, find a church or find other women or men that you could connect with. Go to men's conferences. Go to women's empowerment events. They are very powerful. They bring you closer to God and you connect with so many people. Another thing too is networking events. Yeah, there's so many chances where you get to meet some amazing people. So like I said, for me, if I'm very honest, yeah, I never feel lonely in my singleness, and I experience so much joy. I really like the freedom of it, and it just makes me continue to be better and working on myself. And I think that is super, super, super important. So thank you for that question, Shiv.
You're welcome. I think you missed one, though. One thing my sister did not mention is that she does take quite often vacations.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is something her and I have actually been doing for years on end, especially during the time when her and I were in school and college. My sister came up with the idea, like, we really are burnt out. Like, we need a vacation because we were working and going to school, and that's a lot. So she started this whole thing where, let's take these annual, vacations, and I was down. But I will say this, though. You definitely want to budget that out and just make sure you can expend it, because I know that things get a little crazy sometimes and you're like, I just can't afford a vacation. I'm not saying that you have to take this annual vacation. I do think it is really helpful, though, for everybody, not just single. I'm talking about just everybody.
Married,
to take a annual vacation. And my sister does a little bit more than once per year, but that's her business, yeah. But that's Tabitha Brown was saying that's her business, okay? But for those, like, I want to just mention this too, because I really do think vacationing is really healthy and it helps with your mental stability. If you can't afford it, like my husband and I, when we got married, we didn't have a lot of money, and I knew that I wanted to go on a honeymoon, and that in itself is a vacation, but we really didn't have it like that. What I would have loved to do was go to Hawaii, but neither here nor there. We didn't have enough money to go to Hawaii, so we ended up staying in state.
Right.
We stayed in state, and we went to a place called Kent, Connecticut, which is a really small town in Connecticut, but they have a beautiful waterfall. And we stayed in an Airbnb, and we just really made the most of it. Did things that we normally wouldn't do when we were home. We went bike riding. We rented out some bikes. We went to these old corny shows that they had out there. They had a really nice vintage shops out there, which is something I enjoy. So even if you can't go out of state, sometimes go further out in your state and really just make the most of it. But I strongly do encourage this for single, married, whatever your status is. Definitely try to look into an annual vacation. It will really help with your stress levels, and it will really help you to just get away from the norm of what you're used to.
Absolutely. And I call it a staycation, right? If you're staying in state, you can have so much fun and you can make it your own. But yes, Katrina, you are 100% right. Taking time to go on vacation, even if it's a stay over or staying in your state, but taking that time to love on yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of free things. Go on Eventbrite. I'm actually going to an event in a couple of weeks, and it's free. So anything that you can do that's free, especially with inflation going up, the newspapers, your local library, you want books to read, go to the library and check them out. But things to keep you positive, things to keep you distracted, and then on the right path, and especially to earn your trust and build trust with Jesus. That is the most important part. And that's why I can say, honestly, I am joyfully single and I don't feel lonely, and I'm just enjoying the freedom along with my vacations. but but yeah, I want to, as being your life coach, I want to inspire and just motivate women all over the world. So right now, my calling, and teenagers as well, my calling is just to empower, and I want to travel and do more of it. So that's where my mind is right now, not on a guy, but just really having what God called me to do. This vision came to me, and my sister knows, back in 2020 when I was healing. I was going through a struggle, and God revealed it to me. So to be in 2022, to be joyfully single, to be healed, to be a child of God, and now I want to spread my inspiration to other women, and on the radio station, this platform, to men, and to tell you my story and some from a woman, it's a blessing. So I want to keep working on my calling, and I thank God for it. I truly do. Shug, we were talking about this earlier, and yeah, we about to dive deep. And I gotta get into it, but my sister and I was saying, and I'll let her talk about it more as marriage. When people think of a wedding, think of a pretty white dress. They see all the beautiful bridesmaids. Everybody has makeup, cologne, perfume. Everybody's smelling good. That's visually. But Katrina, break it down. When you are walking to the altar, when you are at that altar, biblically, what does that really mean?
So we actually just talked about this earlier on our personal conversations, but what it really means is you're dying to the old you. And what I mean by that, just like when you're getting baptized, is like you're dying to the old self. I don't care who you are, there is a little bit of selfishness in everybody. And I'm seriously not speaking, for myself, but I think that when you're single, there's just a lot of things that you can do without having to think about somebody else, but when you're married, that just goes out the door. You have to be 100% selfless, or your marriage probably will have some problems. And I'll be honest. So it's just like, I'm making this vow to God first and foremost, right. But I'm also making this vow to be selfless. I'm also making this vow that no matter what, like my husband can go bald, my husband could go through disability problems. My husband may not have no money. My husband may, have this or that going on with him later on. And you're still supposed to be with them because that's what marriage is. So you're going there to the altar and you're just giving up the old self, and you're going to be joined in as like a joint heir, with your spouse. So it is that serious. And this is why we named it Marry Carry, because basically if God does not carry your marriage, yes, you're going to be carrying it yourself. And let me tell you something, you're going to fall. Because, yes, baby, let me let you know, you carrying yourself, your husband, your wife, whatever, you both trying to carry yourself, that's like building a house on sand. When it rains, it is going to wash away. Like, I knew that when I came into marriage, don't get me wrong, I think everybody knows there's going to be a set of challenges, but I didn't know what that really meant until I got further along into my marriage, because year one, you're all in this bridal bliss and all this other stuff, but let me tell you something, that goes away after a while. But and especially when you start throwing kids in the mix, for those that went in with kids, God bless you. But for those that didn't have any kids coming in, and then you introduce some kids later on in your marriage, it is a difference. It's definitely a difference. And that was my husband and I situation. We both didn't have any kids before marriage, and then because we had to get to know each other, we decided to wait to have kids. And then year 4 I ended up getting pregnant. So now our son is 2 years old. We're at year 6. So it's just that was there. But the main thing I just want to get at is just the selflessness, yes, on both parts. The the just keeping that triune where it's God in the center of your marriage, just like a rope, God in the center, and then there's the husband and wife that are all just a cord together. You are going to need Christ involved in everything that you do in your marriage, and you really just need to pray together. You need to read the word together. You need to do things together that go against what this world is telling you to do. Don't let Satan come in. I'm telling you, when you give Satan a foothold in your marriage, he starts to go and destruct a lot of things. He'll start to do little things that you just be like, you're getting on my nerves, I don't need you. I was doing fine without you.
Oh,
but
go to independence.
See, and then that's where it just becomes like, but you're not single anymore. Right. So you can't even have that mindset. You might have been doing just great without them in the beginning, but that's not your mindset anymore. So you got to remove that old you. And that, again, is coming from selflessness as well. Removing all pride, removing all that, and I want to say this too, because I don't know people's situation, but one thing too is I'm really willing, ladies, and I had trouble with this, but to submit to my husband. Now, I didn't have to submit to nobody, really before I was single, so it was really hard for me to just really do the full, and there's a little submission, but then there's the full submission that you actually really do need to do in order for you to really be completely selfless. So I do submit to my husband, but let me throw this in there. You submit to your husband when he is submitting himself to Christ.
Amen.
You can't submit to a man, and I don't care if he's your husband, you can't submit to a man who is not following Christ completely. My husband is following Christ. And that's why I'm able to submit to him, because I know that even despite all his insecurities, even despite things that I may not like about him, he's still following Christ. So he still has his mind right, where I could feel like, yes, I can submit myself to you. If he's not, honestly, it really is hard for you to submit to a man that is not a mighty man of valor. Let's just say that. It's really hard to submit to someone who's not following Christ, because he's supposed to love you like Christ loves the church, like the bride. Right. So it's important for you just to remember that stuff too. That goes for you too, fellas. You need to submit yourself to the Lord. That's how your wife is going to submit to you. So if you're like, oh, well, my wife don't submit to me, well, that may be because you're not submitting yourself to Christ. Because you have a lot to do as a man to make sure that your marriage is actually being sustained and fulfilled. You as the man actually are the head. So, and women, you are the neck. So you control that head. Remember that. And so we have to just remember what will help us to carry our marriage. We need the Lord. We need Christ to help us. But you also need, other things to help you get things in alignment. So it's just important just to, I'm hopeful that, if you don't remember, anything I said, I just pray that you remember that keeping Christ in the center of your marriage is important. Ladies, you do need to submit completely to your husband as long as he is following Christ. And really just think about that. Think about, your actions, both husband and wife. Are you being selfless?
Yes.
Are you really trying to make your marriage work? Or is there still some selfishness in there? Is there still some pride mixed in there? Is there still some other ungodly actions that you're having that's making your marriage actually, go downhill? Because let me tell you, it's not always Satan. Sometimes it's you. It's you. And we always are so quick to be like, oh, that's the devil. No, it's you, boo-boo. It's you. So stop. Stop sometimes doing what you're doing, because you got to really think about this thing and pray it out so that you can actually succeed and you win. That's how, when you're single bingo, that's how you do become the prize, when you're actually following Christ, so that you can actually really be prizeful.
Amen, sugar. That subject of submissiveness is so important. So just keep that in mind. Like my sister said, it's important to submit, and your husband has to commit to Christ too, because people shy away from selflessness and submissiveness. So thank you, Shug, for bringing that up, because that is extremely important. Extremely important.
Yes. And I want to ask my sister now, how does she submit herself to Christ while she may not be married, but how are you submitting yourself to Christ to actually be joyful, in this time, in this season of being single?
Awesome. So again, this Amber is renewed, relaxed, and rejuvenated. And one of the blessings that is just remaining abstinent until I'm married. So I personally made a decision after so many mistakes, after just not wanting to have any soul ties, after wanting to feel better, I renewed my soul, and not only that, but my body, as a sacrifice to God, and said, you know what, God, I'm going to just wait until I am married, because that's what you have for me. Let me tell y'all something, and Amber, I have not always been perfect, but let me say this. When you make a vow and when you do it, I have never felt so clean in my life to submit my body, my voice, mind, body, and spirit to Jesus Christ. I feel very clean. I feel very organic, and if it's meant for me to be married, then I'll be ready. But it feels amazing. So my submission is to what God wants me to do. What helps me is reading the Bible. What helps me is reading Bible plans. So I submit that way to God, and it's so important to me. It's so encouraging, and I would encourage anyone, and it really has transformed my life. Another thing too that I also want to bring up, this is for ladies and gents, because I made some mistakes here. When you decide to date and you're really into Christ, please remember boundaries. What do I mean by boundaries? Now, this is totally up to you, but come on, y'all, let's be honest. Do they really need to be calling you at 11 o'clock at night? Do they really need saying, I need to miss you, can you come outside? Y'all might, my sister's laughing because she know it's real, but y'all probably laughing, but let me know. Y'all can hit me up, you can DM me, let me know. Do they really need to see you that time of night? No. Do you need to wear that tight shirt or them tight jeans and show your chest? No. There's just some things we could wait to do. So I want to encourage you that if you are single and want to have a more Christ-like relationship, to make sure you set those boundaries of after they can't call me after this time. I'm not gonna wear this after this time. I'm not gonna watch this. Keep that in mind too, because submission to God is sacrificial, but it's also what you put into your mind, what you're watching, what you're listening to. All that is very important. And again, I'm not perfect, and keep this in mind if you're just starting it, everything in moderation, but keep hold of what you're saying, what you're listening to, of who you're hanging around with, because God is our Father, right? So ask yourself, hey, would God like me doing this? And if the answer is a straight up no, then I also think too, guys, remember, go to God about everything. This is very new to me, my own business, but I go to God about everything because he's my CEO. And I think it's important, before you date, before you go out, when you make your move in your singleness, you have a lot of freedom, but make sure during that freedom, because God gives it to us, he's such a loving God, make sure you go to him and you're asking him questions. Again, you're submitting to him. God, even simple sessions, what should I put on today? Where should I go? What way would you like me to take? It really is helpful. It's therapeutic, and it is the right thing to do. So that is how in my singleness I submit to God, and that is how my sister in her marriage submits to God. Something that I want to bring up that my sister and I both do, and I'm gonna let her talk about it a little bit, but I'll start. In singleness and marriage, let me give you one of the greatest tips. Therapy. I have never been against therapy ever in my life, but 3 years ago in June of 2019, I started therapy. It has been extremely amazing because that was a tough year for me. I started therapy, and it's been so amazing. It is so helpful, and it deals with a lot of your trauma and things you're going through. and you want to find a therapist that you can trust. So in my singleness, that has helped me too, to have a confident friend that I can lean on, that I can tell about my past hurts, that can help me. And that's another way that helped me with my healing, so that way I can show it with other people. I want to say this, ladies and gentlemen, if you are dealing with some trauma and you're in your singleness, definitely enroll in therapy. There are a lot of affordable opportunities ranging from BetterHelp. I've heard great things about BetterHelp, or you never know. I met my therapist when I was working and we started talking, and you never know who needs it and who you meet. So I definitely recommend therapy, especially in your singleness, to work in your healing. Now, once you get to a good point, y'all, come check me out. Come check out a life coach. And I don't just, guys, I don't just speak about this stuff. I live it. So I also therapy, also life coaching myself, where I had a business coach, because coaching talks about the future. It talks about your goals, and someone holds you accountable. So definitely therapy to deal with the trauma. And if you need to heal in your singleness, and go to life coaching to help you look to the future and to continue to be the best version of yourself. So that's how therapy has helped me in my singleness. And Shug, what about you in your marriage? Tell them about couples therapy, about your own therapy, about how that has blessed your marriage.
Firstly, I do have a question, because, and I think this is a question I think probably other people have too. Like, one might ask, like, what's the difference between coaching and therapy?
Yes. Therapy, first of all, therapy is someone that is licensed. So they must go to school. They must have a degree. Therapy also too, if you need like medications, they will talk to someone to help you. Therapy is more for those who are suffering with trauma. A therapist is going to go back and bring that trauma out of you, and you can talk to them about it. That's more what therapy is. They're licensed. They have a plan. If you are feeling a certain way or suicidal, they are obligated to report that as a therapist. Now, a life coach, some are certified and others are not. Me personally, I am certified. I went to academy, but some have personal experience. A life coach, therapist looks to the past. A life coach looks to the future. So if you are ready to have a confident friend, and if you are ready to set goals for your future, then a life coach would be best for you, because you want to talk about your goals. Let me tell you too, as a life coach, we're going to hold you accountable. So we're expecting you to do homework assignments that will lead you to your future. Whereas a therapist, that little girl, you might be our age, you might be in your 30s, but that little girl or that little man might have had issues, and the therapist is going to bring that out. That's why I will always recommend, as you get older, to start with a therapist to do all your healing, and then come to a life coach to continue and to look to your future. And it truly, truly blesses you. And thank you so much for that, Shug.
Oh, thank you for explaining, because I actually really didn't know too much of the difference. But she's absolutely right. I think that it is very helpful to have. Now, for me, I never worked with a therapist per se. I didn't really need to go digging in my past. Thankfully, God has helped me with a lot of those past type situations. I took it to the Lord in prayer. Just pinned all those sins to the cross. So for me, I didn't really need to bring up my past too much. Of course, sometimes you need to talk about it because it comes up sometimes in your future. Unfortunately, the bad stuff usually. But nevertheless, for me, I didn't really feel like I needed a therapist. More so, I needed a coach. So that's what we got when my husband and I decided to go with marital coaches that helped us with our marriage. And I honestly think it's really healthy. We went and, we did some research too. So we went with two individuals at our church who's been married for, over 20 years, and their marriage has been successful, and they're also believers. So we already had a lot in common. But they weren't licensed either, but still we appreciated their wisdom behind the success in their marriage. So that we went to them and they really did help us. And I honestly recommend it for all people, no matter if you're married or you're not. Like, after, like my sister said, after you get through some of the trauma that you might have had from your past and you talk to a therapist about it, really start getting more into how do I move forward in the future, because sometimes dwelling in the past too long is really not good for you. So you might want to do that stuff, for temporary until you really do feel healed from that. But I think that moving forward with a coach, a life coach in particular, if you need to talk about things that, will help you in your future, but sometimes it may be a marital coach.
Yes.
Sometimes it may be a financial coach. Sometimes it may be a business coach. It depends on, really what you're looking to get out of your future. But I know that coaches, I'll just say in general, they really are helpful. They have really blessed me. I think kind of it's good to like do a continual type thing, if you can, with them. And it doesn't have to be like once a week or anything like that, but just to kind of keep their numbers, even if you're doing better with your career or whatever it is, your future, your marriage, but just keeping their contact, because let me tell you, sometimes things don't always go as you like. And, it's just good to have that, whoever your coach was, to just talk to them about it, because that is really helpful. Of course, you want to pray and talk to God, but sometimes you need that actual live individual that will help you with whatever it is that you need help with. Whether, like I said, whether it's your marriage, whether it's your business, whether it's your finances, anything like that. But the coaches really, they truly blessed me, and I highly recommend it.
Awesome. And I want for more information, so we talked about better health for therapy. For life coaching, I am featured on this website. It has so many amazing coaches, from financial coaches to personal coaches, to those that help you with self-love, to those that help you with healing. If you're overcoming divorce, marriage, mymentor.life.com is an awesome website. My mentor, mentor.life, giving you life. life.com is powerful website where you can go through so many coaches. And let me tell you, there's a filter button. So if you're looking for someone, a female or a male, and you're looking for a specific price, and they have so many categories. So anything that you are dealing with, let me tell you, there are amazing people up there ready to get you the coaching and the blessing that you need. And I'm featured up there, mymentor.life/Amber Starr. Check out my biography and why I got into life coaching, and I pray that it blesses you. People say, marriages can be tough. It can be challenging, but there's so many beautiful things in marriage. Let the audience know, what's one of the favorite things that you love doing with your husband?
So, I mean, and that's a really good thing to bring up, because sometimes it's hard to be like, oh, let's go out on a date. When you have kids, that stuff kind of goes out of the door. But me and my husband still try to find things that we find joy in to do together, as a family, and then sometimes alone. Things like we like to do together as a family is like going to the beach. It's very peaceful. It's really nice. Taking a walk, like going to the park, those type of free things where we could just be out, together, or if we need to stay in the house, if it's raining or if it's bad weather outside, maybe just watch a movie all together. Like we recently just watched The Lion King. I haven't watched that in a long time, but we knew our son was gonna like it. We haven't seen it in a long time. I forgot certain things. All I know was Mufasa, and I was like, but we did that, and then
did Liv like it?
Oh yeah, my son liked it.
Oh good.
And then like things that we like to do together though is, if we can, we like to go out to eat together. Like a real true sincere date night. We also me and my husband, we are Christians, so we do like to go to church together. That's something we enjoy doing. Also just anything that, like my sister said, going to Eventbrite sometimes, like looking stuff up. Like I like to go to jazz events, things like that. Just anything that will actually help us to just have a good time, and just help us to really have joy. It's really important. And I just want to bring up too, because my sister talking about just blessing y'all, like she brought up the website that she's on, but also ladies, there's there is a women's conference that is coming up, and it is in Boston, Massachusetts. If you've never been to Boston, this is your time to break away and go to Boston. It's such a great town. I really enjoy it. I like it actually a little bit better than New York. But my sister's going to provide you with some information. And if you're interested, she also has a code for you to save some money off of the ticket. So let her give you that information.
Yes, thank you, Shook. So yeah, I am super excited. And guess what? I would love for y'all to support me because I love y'all. This is my first biggest speaking engagement. And sorry, this is mainly for the ladies. I mean, you can come to get to know us, but in Boston on Saturday, August 20th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., feel free to join me, my sister, my family at the She Rise, We Rise Boston Empowerment Women Conference. I am speaking, and there will be a whole bunch of lovely other speakers there to encourage you. Yeah, we're gonna have a 3-course lunch. There's gonna be a fashion show. There's gonna be vendors so you can do shopping. And guess what? You come out of there with a swag bag. So do y'all need a day of inspiration because you want to rise up? You want to feel better about yourself? Come check us out. Some of the other attendees include Kayla Williams, Julie Moran, Cynthia, Yolanda from Boston. Check it out. And it is on Eventbrite. And my code is Amber, capital A, MBER, Starr, capital STARR. That is all one word. It is $86.46, and that includes the wonderful conference, that includes the lunch and the swag bag. And yeah, I like to hook you up. So if you want to stay overnight, just you can write me on Instagram. You could write me on Facebook. I'm on all social media platforms. Feel free to write in, and I can give you a code to stay overnight at the Marriott Boston Quincy Hotel in Quincy, Massachusetts. And I hope to see ya there. But thank you for that, Sugar. A day of empowerment.
Yes, and again, that was She Rise, and then it's comma We Rise, and it's Boston Empowerment Conference. So if you need to look that up inside of Eventbrite, if you forgot, just to repeat, She Rise, comma We Rise, Boston Empowerment Conference. It is a woman empowerment, again, like she said. So men, I don't know if you feel comfortable with that, but no, honestly, women, you will be blessed if you are able to attend. Please come out, support, have a great time, get some good food, and just feel empowered. I know after leaving empowerment events, I really do feel good. I really do. So.
Yes, and it's awesome. And even on Eventbrite for the men, they have men conferences too. I know they have one in a couple months I've seen. So y'all check it out. If you've never been, men, you could be empowered too and meet some of your other brothers. It's important that you stay in the Word, get closer to God, meet new people, and go to conferences. There are so many wonderful activities going on. So my sister and I want you to stay empowered, especially with a lot of issues going on in this world right now. Keep your head held up high. Everything's not going to go right all the time, but just know God got you, and your health is your wealth. Before we wrap up, what are some encouraging words you want to give to all the married couples today?
I just want to tell everybody to just stay encouraged, and just to, again, keep God in the center of your marriage and really just try to laugh together. Yes. Try to have fun together. Don't sweat the small stuff. If you have problems, whether they be, it could be an array of different things, but really just take that to the Lord in prayer. Go see a marital coach, to help you two get along. And don't let the devil come and break something up. What God put together, no man should be able to separate.
Yes.
So just remember that too. And, I pray for all these married couples because I know that it is hard. It really, truly is. But you will be blessed if you give God the glory in your marriage, with your time, with your selflessness,
yes.
and with the acts and work that you do.
Amen. Thank you for that.
And then just wrapping that up too, how would you, the same question for you, in your singleness.
Yes, for all the single people, just continue to keep a relationship with God first and foremost. Take yourself out, yeah, and enjoy it. For those ladies that are looking for their Boaz, and for those men that are looking for their Mary, work on yourself. The more that you invest in yourself, yeah, they'll come, she'll come, or he'll come to bless you. But in the meantime, go ahead and pray. Take yourself out. Enjoy every day. Go to the beach and pray and enjoy and be joyfully single. And out the blue, there's someone for everyone, and you will be blessed. And for those that are going to stay single, might not be looking for a marriage, keep your eye on, guys. And remember, single and married people, you are the prize. Single, remember, you are a prize. You're trying to win that bingo. And for marriage,
married, carried by the Lord.
Yes. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me, Life Coach Miss Starr, and my beautiful sister,
Katrina Goins.
We appreciate you so much. We pray that this interview bless you. Again, my name is Life Coach Miss Starr, and thank you so much for joining me every Tuesday on Therapeutic Tea Tuesdays right here on Red Media Radio, sending abundance of blessings your way.